One who is going to be having the presence of a T cell ALL. But a friend of mine says that no, this is not a T cell ALL. It is a patient who's going to be having the presence of a thymoma. How will I differentiate between these two? बता दीजिए, लॉजिकली सोच के बताओ मेरे को. My point is, if you have a patient who is going to be having a T cell ALL, this is what is going to be associated with the presence of cancer in which there is going to be involvement of the thymus. So there is going to be a presence of mediastinum, and thymoma patients can also be having the presence of a mediastinal mass, right? So the finding that we need to remember over here is, of course, age group can be one important factor, but we are talking about from the perspective of a histopathological differentiation. From the perspective of a histopathological differentiation, what I want you to remember is, in case of thymoma, when you look at the tumor cells, in case of thymoma, when you're going to be looking at the tumor cells, they are going to be cytokeratin positive, right? And when we are talking about the tumor cells in case of TSL ALL, they are going to be cytokeratin negative. Of course, there can be other markers as well for the purpose of differentiation, but let us at least be familiar with the facts which have already been asked in the exam, and therefore this is what we need to be familiar with over here. Second fact that I wanted to remember over here is going to be, you had a patient who is going to be having the presence of a appearance which is given the name of 47XX plus 21. Which type of cancer would you expect to have more commonly in this patient? 2024's question. No, the thymoma is not going to be seen. Thymoma is going to be a tumor. No, thymoma is going to be a tumor arising from the thymus gland itself. So when you're talking about 47, 47 is a extra chromosome. And that means we are dealing with a patient who's going to be suffering from Down syndrome. 2024's question, Down syndrome patients are always at higher risk of suffering from AML. Which type of AML is going to be more commonly seen in them? That is going to be AML M7, right? But typically these patients are going to be having the age which is going to be less than 5 to 7 years. In patients having Down syndrome, you are also going to be having a higher risk of development of ALL also. Overall, in fact, the commonest cancer, I believe that has been told to you in pediatrics. In case you haven't been, please revise the fact. Overall, if you're talking about the commonest cancer that you see in a patient having Down syndrome, that is ALL. Overall, the commonest cancer that you see in a patient suffering from Down syndrome is going to be ALL. But the type of AML that is more commonly seen in Down syndrome is going to be AML M7. This is going to be AML M7. So that is what you need to have an idea, right? The other thing is what I have already shared with you, that you were asked questions in the exam on the pseudo Gaucher cells, the Gaucher cells. That is a fact. Now, talking about an example of a malignancy that is going to be given the name of Hodgkin's lymphoma. Hodgkin's lymphoma is going to be an example of a malignancy that is going to be causing involvement of single axial group of lymph nodes. And this is going to be having a property that it is going to be having a spread by contiguity. Spread by contiguity matlab disciplined fashion. Disciplined fashion. You have lymph nodes in this kind of a fashion. Tumor first causes involvement of this lymph node, then it causes involvement of this lymph node, then it causes involvement of this lymph node, so on and so forth. So it is going to be progressing in a proper fashion, disciplined fashion. This is called as spread by contiguity. But when you are talking about non-Hodgkin lymphoma, Hodgkin lymphoma जो होता है वो आराम से चलता है. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma is going to be discontinuous. From here it can go over here, then it can go over here. So it is going to be a disorganized fashion. That is what is going to be given the name of a non-contiguous spread. 2023 question, which I believe most of you should be able to recall. Hodgkin lymphoma में mesenteric nodes and Walde's ring are rarely involved. So whenever you have a question in the exam which makes a mention of the fact that patient has involvement of the Walde's ring, patient is having the involvement of the mesenteric nodes, that is going to be an indicator for a patient suffering from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. In a similar fashion, extranodal involvement is going to be commonly observed in case of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It is something which is absolutely rare. It is something which is absolutely rare in a patient who's going to be suffering from Hodgkin's lymphoma. Absolutely rare in a patient suffering from Hodgkin's lymphoma. That is what we need to remember. So differentiation, I repeat my point, differentiation between Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's should be very clear to all of you, right? Talking about now, both of them are going to be having a common risk factor, and the common risk factor for both of them happens to be a virus that is given the name of Epstein-Barr virus. Epstein-Barr virus, right? So whenever we are going to be talking about a patient who's going to be suffering from Hodgkin's lymphoma, Whenever we talk about a patient suffering from Hodgkin lymphoma, what is the cell of origin? The cell of origin in case of Hodgkin lymphoma is what you need to remember as what is given in now. The 10th edition of Robbins made a mention of post-germinal center B cell. 11th edition of Robbins makes a mention of this as a germinal center B cell. Germinal center B cell. So just make that small, I would say, kind of an update because that is what is likely to be asked in the exam as well. Germinal center B cell is the one which is going to be having the origin of a Hodgkin's lymphoma. Clinical presentation of a patient having Hodgkin lymphoma is patients are going to be having progressive lymph node enlargement. Rubbery is a keyword. Contiguous painless lymph node enlargement is going to be a keyword. Why do we need to talk about the keywords over here? Understand the fact. Suppose I tell you the fact the patient is going to be having the presence of a cervical lymph node enlargement. In a country like India, one of the important differential diagnosis that you will always remember is TB. TB. बट पोस्ट जर्मिनल सेंटर क्यूआर बुक के अंदर भी है यार, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ वही उसको ऐसे ही लिखे लेने देना। आप उसमें लिख लो कि अगर एग्जाम के अंदर जर्मिनल सेंटर वाला ऑप्शन हो तो आंसर ऑफ चॉइस होगा वो 11th एडिशन में दिया हुआ है। व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ट्यूबरकुलोसिस, द पेशेंट्स आर गोइंग टू बी हैविंग fused lymph nodes which are given the name of matted lymph nodes. Matted lymph nodes. So matted lymph nodes is what is going to be a key indicator that the examiner is asking a question on TB. Similarly, progressive rubbery, paleness, and contiguous is an indicator that the examiner is asking a question on Hodgkin's lymphoma. Patients who are having Hodgkin's lymphoma are going to be having the presence of a fever pattern like this. For 7 days, they are having a fever. Next 7 days, there is no fever. Next 7 days, again, there is a fever. Next 7 days, there is no fever. So this is what is going to be given a special name. This was asked as one-liner questions, Pell-Epstein fever. Pell-Epstein fever. As I'm making a mention of this fact again, there is minimal extranodal involvement in the patients over there. Minimal extranodal involvement in the patients over here. Right? So whenever we have the question is going to be talking about the fact patient is having involvement of the spleen, patient is having involvement of the testicular tissue, patient is having involvement of the CNS. That is all indicator for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. One of the important findings of Hodgkin lymphoma that you need to remember is that patients are going to be having the presence of pain on drinking alcohol, right? So a lot of people would drink just so that they forget their pains. But in case of Hodgkin's, the reverse is what is going to happen. They drink and they're going to be experiencing pain, right? So pain on drinking alcohol, especially in the affected lymph nodes, is what is going to be happening, right? This is what you need to remember. And then patients can be having the other manifestations like hypercalcemia. They can be having a manifestation like amyloidosis. They can be having a manifestation like Guillain-Barré syndrome, right? We do the investigation, which is given the name of lymph node excision biopsy for these patients, and we follow a particular type of classification. This is just going to be a quick recap. There are two types of Hodgkin's as per the WHO classification. First is this one. This is what is going to be given the name of classical Hodgkin's lymphoma. Classical Hodgkin lymphoma. This one is what is going to be given the name of non-classical Hodgkin lymphoma. This one is non-classical Hodgkin lymphoma. What's the difference? Any patient who's going to be having a classical Hodgkin lymphoma will be having the presence of tumor cells, and these tumor cells are going to be given the name of Reed-Sternberg tumor cells. I want you to remember and revise Reed-Sternberg tumor cells are going to be CD15 and CD30 positive. CD15 and CD30 positive. So Hodgkin's may, whenever we are talking about the presence of a tumor cell and the patients are having tumor cells which are going to be having markers like CD15 and CD30, that is given the name of a classical Hodgkin's lymphoma. But whenever we are talking about non-classical Hodgkin lymphoma, in this, the tumor cells are having CD15 and CD30 negativity, non-expression. What they are having is expression of CD20. What they can be having is expression of other molecules. Say, for example, there can be an expression of something like CD45 or BCL6. So this is a key differentiating factor between classical and non-classical Hodgkin's lymphoma. Classical and non-classical Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now you will be asked question in the exam on all of them. For example, 2023 you were asked a question in the exam on nodular sclerosis Hodgkin lymphoma. Why? Because this happens to be the most common Hodgkin lymphoma in the world. Nodular sclerosis. What is sclerosis? Deposition of collagen, deposition of fibrous band. Which chemical is responsible for the deposition of the fibrous band? TGF beta. So TGF beta is secreted by the Reed-Sternberg cell over here. The Reed-Sternberg cell in this condition is given the name of a lacunar cell. The Reed-Sternberg cell is going to be seen in case of lacunar cell. एप्सिलमर वायरस का मैंने मेंशन इसलिए नहीं किया, उसके दो रीजन है, अभी बताता हूँ आपको। डॉक्टर आदित्य अभी बताता हूँ। TGF beta is going to be secreted by the tumor cells over here. The tumor cells in case of nodular sclerosis Hodgkin lymphoma is given the name of, excuse me, lacunar cell. This is what you need to have an idea. And whenever we are talking about TGF beta, it is going to be responsible for the formation of fibrotic bands. For example, this is a lymph node. You will be having the formation of fibrotic bands like this. Fibrotic bands like this. Multiple nodules are going to be present over here. Nodular sclerosis is going to be having an importance. It is not related. I repeat my fact. It is not related with Epstein-Barr virus infection. Not related with Epstein-Barr virus infection. Second fact that you need to remember over here is that whenever we are going to be talking about the nodular sclerosis variant, this is going to be having very, very commonly involvement of mediastinal group of lymph nodes. Mediastinal group of lymph nodes. So we can be having cervical lymph node enlargement, we can be having mediastinal lymph node enlargements, we can be having para-aortic group of lymph nodes being enlarged, but mediastinal lymph node enlargement is very commonly involved in case of nodular sclerosis subtype of Hodgkin's lymphoma. So four features of nodular sclerosis which are mandatory for you to remember. High prevalence in the world, cell is called as lacunar cell, not related with Epstein-Barr virus, and is related with mediastinal lymph node enlargement. Why do we need to talk about this much of nodular sclerosis? Out of the four variants of classical Hodgkin lymphoma, this one is going to be having the best prognosis. This one is going to be having the best prognosis. So as a doctor, please always remember the perspective of a layman. हमारा पॉइंट सिर्फ एमसीक्यू क्रैक करके सिर्फ डिग्रियां इकट्ठा करना नहीं है, हमारा पर्सपेक्टिव है पेशेंट हमसे सवाल पूछे तो उसकी भाषा में उसको समझा पाए, which means that if a patient is having a malignancy, you should be able to express to the patient that yes, this is something which is not a very lucky thing for you, but what you are having as a type of Hodgkin lymphoma is the one which is going to be having a better prognosis. The second one we are interested in knowing about because this is something that is prevalent or common in our country, mixed cellularity. So mixed cellularity Hodgkin lymphoma is the one which is going to be having the classical Hodgkin lymphoma. Classical Hodgkin lymphoma, we remember and recall, it was having the presence of two nuclei. It is having the presence of two nucleoli, and they are almost a mirror image of each other. Almost a mirror image of each other. And these nucleoli are going to be having what kind of a color? Will they be basophilic or will they be eosinophilic? बेसोफिलिक होंगे, एओजोनोफिलिक होंगे? याद करके बताना है आपने मेरे को, रीड सनबर्ग सेल में कैसे होंगे, इओजोनोफिलिक होंगे, बेसोफिलिक होंगे? बेसोफिलिक मतलब ब्लू, इओजोनोफिलिक मतलब रेड। तो अपने नाम से आपको चिल्ला के बता तो रहा है, वो रीड सनबर्ग सेल है। रीड सनबर्ग सेल में देयर इज गोइंग टू बी रेडिश अपीयरेंस है, रेड कलर है, which means eosinophilic, right? So these are the ones which are going to be having CD15 and CD30 positivity. So classical Reed-Sternberg cells are going to be seen over here. This is going to be having an association with Epstein-Barr virus as well. Now, what is important about mixed cellularity Hodgkin lymphoma? Mixed cellularity Hodgkin lymphoma, patients have lymph node enlargement. That is fine. Lymph nodes enlarged हैं patient के. But these patients are also having fever. They are also going to be having weight loss. And they are also going to be having night sweats. Fever, weight loss, and night sweats. These are called as B symptoms. These are called as B symptoms. So mixed cellularity Hodgkin lymphoma, understand from the name, lot and lots of mixed types or different types of cells are there. These cells secrete cytokines. Concept की बात कर रहा हूँ, बहुत सारे लोग लिख रहे थे ना कि concept आप बताया करो. Cytokines are secreted in high amount, and these cytokines are going to be responsible for development of B symptoms: fever, weight loss, night sweats. Fever, weight loss, night sweats. So lymph node enlargement is definitely going to be seen, but fever, weight loss, night sweats is also going to be seen in the patient. I hope you are clear. यूनिलैटरल होते हैं टिपिकली, यूनिलैटरल lymph node enlargement. Bimodal मतलब अलग अलग एज ग्रुप के अंदर. So this is what you need to remember over here. So remember the fact that B symptoms are going to be very commonly observed over here. So we remember it with the simple fact B. B for the fact we are talking about our country, Bharat. That's what we told you in the main video as well. B for Bharat, that is India. And B for, remember, B symptoms are commonly seen in these patients. And B for also remember the fact Epstein-Barr virus. Epstein-Barr virus. Right? What's this? When we are talking about the third variant, the third one is called as lymphocyte rich. Lymphocyte rich is what is going to be seen in case of elderly people, and they are going to be having a single nucleus containing Reed-Sternberg cell. Single nucleus containing Reed-Sternberg cell, right? Finally, we are talking about lymphocyte depleted. An example of a condition in which patients are going to be having depletion of lymphocytes would be association with HIV. Association with HIV. Lymphocyte depleted Hodgkin lymphoma associated with HIV. So therefore, it is going to be atypical, and this is going to be having the worst prognosis. Worst prognosis. भाई चारों की प्रॉपर्टीज, नोडुलर स्क्लेरोसिस कॉमनेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड है, सबसे अच्छा प्रोग्नोसिस है क्लासिकल के अंदर. इट इज हैविंग द प्रेजेंस ऑफ लैक्यूनर सेल. इट इज गोइंग टू बी हैविंग द प्रेजेंस ऑफ नो रिलेशन विद एप्स्टीन बार वायरस एंड इज प्रेजेंटिंग इन द फॉर्म ऑफ mediastinal lymph node enlargement. Mixed cellularity, very common in India, having the presence of classical Reed-Sternberg cell, having association with Epstein-Barr virus, having the high chance of development of B symptoms. B symptoms means primary symptoms means add-on symptoms, fever, weight loss, night sweat. Lymphocyte rich is seen in elderly people. They are having a single nucleus in the Reed-Sternberg cell. And lymphocyte depleted Hodgkin lymphoma is what is also seen in elderly people, but that is associated with HIV. Associated with HIV. Finally, talking about lymphocyte predominant Hodgkin lymphoma. Lymphocyte predominant Hodgkin lymphoma is the one which is going to be having the presence of a atypical Reed-Sternberg cell, which is going to be given the name of a popcorn cell. Popcorn cell. 2021, 2022, 2023 INACT NEET PG question, popcorn cell. This is atypical. This is non-classical. Why is it non-classical? Because CD15 and CD30 are negative. Fact number two, it is not going to be having the presence of Epstein-Barr virus relationship. This is also not related with Epstein-Barr virus. Also not related with Epstein-Barr virus. And overall, it is going to be having the best prognosis. Overall, it is going to be having the best prognosis. So when you compare all the five, it is overall going to be having the best prognosis. अगर क्लासिकल में पूछोगे आप चारों को, तो बेस्ट प्रोग्नोसिस किसका होगा? नोडुलर स्क्लेरोसिस. अगर ओवरऑल आप देखोगे, ओवरऑल इज गोइंग टू बी लिम्फोसाइट प्रीडोमिनेंट हॉजकिंस लिम्फोमा. राइट, है ना? जो बीवी के साथ नहीं है उसका प्रोग्नोसिस बेटर है. जो ईबीवी के साथ नहीं है, बीवी मतलब ईबीवी के साथ नहीं है, उसका प्रोग्नोसिस बेटर है. सो आप सब लोग लकी लोग हो, अपनी मर्जी से जिंदगी जी रहे हो. हम सब खुश हैं, हम सब लकी हैं. EBV negative is going to be having good prognosis. Now, how are they going to be asking a question in the exam on something like image-based questions? So when you're talking about image-based questions, this is what you need to remember. This is classical. Two nuclei, two prominent nuclei. Classical Hodgkin lymphoma. Which is a type of Hodgkin that you would expect to have with this? Which one? This is going to be mixed cellularity. Then you are having the presence of a one which is going to be having a single nucleus. Single nucleus. कौन से वाला होगा? बिना नोट्स देखे कोशिश करना. मोनोन्यूक्लियर. मोनोन्यूक्लियर कौन से वाला था जो आपको पता है? मोनोन्यूक्लियर. Lymphocyte rich. Then we are having presence of Reed-Sternberg cell which is having a whitish area. A whitish area means empty area. Lacunar cell. Lacunar cell. So that means nodular sclerosis. Nodular sclerosis. And then talking about the fourth one, the one which is going to be having indentations, just like a popcorn kernel. Just like a popcorn kernel. Lymphohistiocytic cell, so that is given the name of lymphocyte predominant Hodgkin's lymphoma. Lymphocyte predominant Hodgkin lymphoma, which is going to be given the name of non-classical. ये वाला classical था, nodular sclerosis. This is just for revision. This is just for revision. They may not give you the exact picture in the exam, but this is for our understanding. Which of them is going to be having the highest chance of having the presence of development of something like secretion of TGF beta? 1, 2, 3, 4. TGF beta. 1, 2, 3, 4. कौन से वाला? Answer will be 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which of them is going to be having overall best prognosis? 1, 2, 3, 4. Overall best prognosis. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which of them is going to be having a poor prognosis? 1, 2, 3, 4. Overall going to be having a poor prognosis. वो तो इस इमेज के अंदर है ही नहीं. लिम्फोसाइट डिप्लीटेड वाला था. लिम्फोसाइट डिप्लीटेड वाला. डिप्लीटेड. लिम्फोसाइट डिप्लीटेड इज द वन व्हिच इज गोइंग टू बी हैविंग अ पुअर प्रोग्नोसिस. याद रखना. हॉजकिंस के साथ में आपने एडिशनल चीज पढ़ी, आपके नोट्स के अंदर लिखा हुआ है that we are going to be giving drugs to these patients. What are the drugs given for these patients? ABVD. ABVD. And we have newer drugs which is going to be lymphocyte depleted है ना वो. Exactly. Right? So ABVD regime, or we are going to be having new drugs which are going to be given the name of immune checkpoint inhibitors. Immune checkpoint inhibitors. Right? The ones that you read in pharmacology, जो program death ligand 1 के against होते हैं. Nivolumab, pembrolizumab. Right? Then we are talking about this one. This is a differentiation. This is a differentiation. So I'm going to be having the presence of a cell which is going to be having the Reed-Sternberg cell. This is seen in Hodgkin's lymphoma. I can also be having the presence of a similar owl-like kind of an appearance in case of cytomegalo, not CML, cytomegalovirus infection. Cytomegalovirus infection. That's going to be having a bluish appearance, bluish inclusions. ठीक है. एबीवीडी रेजिम हॉजकिंस के साथ में. डॉक्टर खुशी, क्वेश्चन आता है एग्जाम में, एबीवीडी रेजिम कौन सी ड्रग के साथ में? इट इज गिवन फॉर द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ अ पेशेंट हैविंग हॉजकिंस लिम्फोमा. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ अ पेशेंट हैविंग हॉजकिंस लिम्फोमा. सो सीएमवी के साथ में आउलाई अपीयरेंस होती है, but CMV infection is going to be associated with history of immunosuppression. Remember 2023's question, patient is going to be having a history of immunosuppression. So classically it is going to be seen in patient after transplant. So post transplant. Why post transplant? Because because for having a successful transplant you give a lot of immunosuppressive therapy so that graft rejection does not take place. So you give immunosuppressive drugs, right? Most of you are familiar with tacrolimus, cyclosporin, right? And you're going to be then doing a transplant. So the transplant rejection chances are going to decrease. But what is going to be taking place is immunity of a person is less. When immunity of a person is going to be less, that is going to be associated with higher risk of development of CMV infection. And that CMV infection can be manifesting itself in the form of this kind of an appearance, the owl eye appearance, which is going to be having the presence of the bluish or the basophilic appearance. Right? So that differentiation is what you need to remember from the perspective of your exam, which is going to be a very, very easy but important question that you need to keep in mind. Right? Then what you given as a question in the exam was a patient who was having the other important types. So this is what I just wanted to be familiar with. Just a revision of what is given in Robbins. What is the type of cell over here? Empty appearance, lacunar cell. Lacunar cell. These are the fibrotic bands. Fibrotic bands. Nodules are there. Nodular sclerosis, Hodgkin lymphoma. This is going to be a repetition, popcorn cell. Talking about now the concept of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Talking about now the concept of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So we just need to have an idea about the non-Hodgkin lymphoma as well. Now, anytime we are going to be making a mention of the non-Hodgkin lymphoma, we are going to be having the tumor which is going to be arising from multiple areas. Multiple areas. So B cell ALL is what we already talked about. What is the cell of origin of a B cell ALL? This image appears simple, but you have to remember this. B cell ALL is going to be arising from the bone marrow from the precursor B cell. Precursor B cell. Precursor B cell. It is going to be having good prognosis, bad prognosis. Revise, revise, revise. Good prognosis, bad prognosis. Good prognosis. Which type of genetic defects are going to be associated with good prognosis in ALL? Genetic defects with good prognosis in ALL. Hyperdiploidy. Patients having a translocation. Which translocation is good prognosis? Very good. 12 and 21. Then we are talking about trisomies. Which trisomy? Good prognosis. Lucky 7, 4, 10. Lucky 7, 4, and 10. Which translocation means bad prognosis in ALL? 922, 814, 411. Pseudodiploidy 411, 814, 922, bad prognosis. Right? This is what I wanted to remember. Whenever we are talking about CLL, CLL, CLL arising from naive B cell, that itself is a question. CLL, what is the peripheral smear finding? CLL ki peripheral smear finding? Smudge cells. Cells get crushed. What is the appearance? All cells look same. All cells look same. Convent girl appearance. Convent girl appearance. Patients are going to be having a confirmatory investigation, which is 2022's question. Confirmatory investigation. Flow cytometry. What is the flow cytometry finding? 2023's question. CD5 and 23 being present. CD5 and 23 being present. What you can also remember over here is that when you're talking about something like CLL, of course, the patients are always at high risk of development of autoimmune hemolytic anemia, and patients are going to be having a high risk for development of immune thrombocytopenic purpura. So a lot of you are making a mention of this particular fact. This is what is going to be given the name of Ivan syndrome. Ivan syndrome. Shevan syndrome is associated with autoimmune hemolytic anemia and ITP. Of course, what we talked about yesterday, it is the only important example of a blood cancer that is having a high prevalence in case of elderly people, also having no relationship with radiation exposure. Patients having a cancer, but they are not having development of something like radiation exposure. Neutropenia is not seen. Lymphocytosis is going to be seen. Leukocytosis तो होगा ही ना यार. उसके रिलेशन में आप देखोगे तो न्यूट्रोपीनिया आप कह सकते हो, रिलेटिव न्यूट्रोपीनिया, बट लिम्फोसाइटोसिस. Right? Then we need to be talking about the other important example. So this is already done. So I can just maybe remove the highlight over here. Now I'm talking about an example of a cancer which I want you to talk about over here, which is given the name of mantle zone lymphoma. Mantle zone lymphoma is something that we talked about. It is going to be having a translocation 11, 14. 11, 14. 11, 14 is the one which is going to be associated with a trouble. Patients are going to be having overexpression of a marker that is given the name of cyclin. Cyclin is which category of genes? Tumor suppressor gene, apoptosis gene, DNA repair gene, proto-oncogene. Cyclins. Cyclins are proto-oncogenes, fifth category. Remember, growth factor receptor, nuclear transcription factor, signal transduction protein, cyclins. Which cyclin is most important? DEAB. Which cyclin is most important? CDK. CDK 4 and 6, cyclin D. So this is what is going to be associated with cyclin D1 overexpression. Cyclin D1 overactivity, cyclin D1 overexpression. Some of the patients are not going to be having, some of the patients have mantle zone lymphoma, but they are not having cyclin D1. So what is the alternative marker? The alternative marker that you have over here is SOX11. SOX11, right? So imagine there are two kids. The two kids are riding a cycle and the cycle is going to be ridden by them after wearing their shoes. When you wear shoes, you remember socks. सॉक्स पहन के, जूते पहन के साइकिल चलाइएगा. दैट्स गोइंग टू बी इजी, एंड दिस इज व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी हेल्पफुल फॉर यू टू रिमेंबर that the patients are going to be having cyclin D1 and SOX11 as a marker for mantle zone lymphoma. Mantle zone lymphoma is going to be having a presentation in the form of development of GI polyps. It's going to be having a presentation in the form of GI polyps. That's what we need to remember. GI polyps. हाँ, ऐसा भी कह सकते हो आप. मतलब मेंटल आदमी तो नहीं साइकिल चलाता यार सॉक्स, सिर्फ सॉक्स पहन के, मतलब फुटवियर नहीं पहन रखा, अगर आपको कहानी याद रखनी है. यस सर, यू आर राइट. ठीक है. मेंटल आदमी साइकिल चला रहा है सिर्फ जुराबे पहन के, बाकी कपड़े नहीं पहन रहा है ना. तो वो पीके की डांसिंग कार वाला माहौल, साइकिल चला रहा है सिर्फ सॉक्स पहन के, ऑब्वियस दिस इज गोइंग टू बी एसोसिएटेड विद जीआई पॉलिप्स. राइट. देन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट समथिंग कॉल्ड एज फॉलिकुलर लिम्फोमा. फॉलिकुलर लिम्फोमा. फॉलिकुलर लिम्फोमा में द पेशेंट्स आर गोइंग टू बी हैविंग द कैंसर अराइजिंग फ्रॉम जर्मिनल सेंटर. इस पे ध्यान दीजिएगा. जर्मिनल सेंटर. जर्मिनल सेंटर. So I can obviously talk about this particular fact. I can just remove this. Follicular lymphoma is going to be having the presence of translocation. Follicular 14, 18. 14, 18. This is what is going to be having the overexpression of BCL2. Overexpression of BCL2. So remember B cell lymphoma, BCL, B cell lymphoma, BCL2 is what is going to be associated with follicular lymphoma. So ऐसा लिम्फोमा जिसके स्पेलिंग में आप ध्यान रखिएगा एल दो बार आ जाए. फॉलिकुलर के स्पेलिंग में एल दो बार आता है, फॉलिक्यूलर. दो बार एल एक साथ, L2. BCL2 overexpression, follicular lymphoma. So there is a overexpression of anti-apoptotic molecule that is going to be associated with follicular lymphoma. Patients are going to be having very slow growing lymph node enlargement. Slow growing lymph node enlargement. When there is a slow growth of the lymph node enlargement, that is going to be given the name of indolent. Indolent मतलब आराम आराम से, धीरे धीरे. जैसे हम धीरे धीरे पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, धीरे धीरे हमारा ज्ञान वर्धन हो रहा है, जैसे जैसे हम होशियार बन रहे हैं, धीरे धीरे. Indolent lymph node enlargement, follicular lymphoma. Then we need to be familiar with Burkitt's lymphoma. Burkitt's lymphoma is going to be associated with alphabet B over here, B. And alphabet B can be very easily converted into alphabet, the numerical 8. B, 8, B, 8. So whenever you're going to be having the involvement of chromosome number 8, for example, translocation can be 814. For example, translocation can be 28. For example, translocation can be 822. Remember, 922 was CML, 822, 28, and 814 is Burkitt's. Why do we need to talk about this? Because translocation of chromosome number 8 is always associated with increase in the activity of c-MYC. increase in the activity of c-Myc, right? c-Myc is what is going to be an example of which category of gene? I want you to remember and revise. Tumor suppressor gene. Is it an example of a DNA repair gene? Is it an example of a proto-oncogene, or it is an example of a apoptosis gene? Proto-oncogene. Proto-oncogene, which category? Nuclear transcription factor. It is the most important nuclear transcription factor. So when there is a c-Myc, it is going to be responsible for very fast growing tumor, fast growing tumor. So Burkitt's lymphoma is going to be an example of a fast growing tumor. In fact, the tumor cell is going to be growing so fast, it is responsible for having an association with a virus as well, Epstein-Barr virus. And in case of Epstein-Barr virus, you are going to be having a high risk of development of endemic Burkitt's lymphoma. Endemic Burkitt's. From the name itself, you can remember Epstein-Barr, EB. Endemic Burkitt's में कौन सा virus? Endemic Burkitt's virus. Endemic Burkitt's virus is EBV. These patients are going to be having the classical important presentation in the form of involvement of jaw mass. So lymph nodes around the jaw are going to be having involvement. So mandibular mass. So African child having a mandibular mass. That is what you need to remember. And as and when you are going to be performing a lymph node biopsy in these children, you are going to be having a classical appearance that is going to be given the name of a starry sky appearance. It is going to be having the presence of what is given the name of a starry sky appearance. Starry sky appearance. Starry sky appearance. So that is what you just need to keep in mind. Right? That is about Burkitt's. DLBCL. DLBCL. Most common non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. DLBCL. Most common non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. This can very well be associated with Epstein-Barr virus. This can also be associated in a patient suffering from HIV. And if you remember, it is going to be associated with an important property. Patients are typically going to be having one particular type of lymphoma earlier. मतलब मरीज को पहले कोई लिम्फोमा था, pre-existing lymphoma. This patient acquires more mutations, then he is going to be having a development of DLBCL. Pre-existing lymphoma progresses into DLBCL. So it is an example of a more aggressive transformation. This more aggressive transformation is going to be given the name of Richter's transformation. This more aggressive transformation is given the name of Richter's transformation. Richter's transformation. Right? So as you are going to be transforming, you acquire more knowledge, you acquire more skills, you are going to be becoming rich. So tumor cells भी अपने आप को ऐसे rich सोचते हैं. They acquire more mutations. They acquire more mutations, they become more rich. Richter's transformation, that is what is going to be responsible for DLBCL. Why should I study about DLBCL? Because it is the most common type of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. 2022's INICT question, elderly patient having the presence of a testicular mass, having the presence of a cerebellar ataxia. Elderly patient having the presence of a testicular mass, having the presence of paraneoplastic syndrome in the form of cerebellar ataxia. So when I'm talking about an elderly patient who's going to be having a testicular mass, I would be thinking in terms of something like a extranodal involvement. Extranodal involvement is a feature of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And testicular mass with cerebellar ataxia, you have to cram this information. I am sorry, but there is no too much of a logic to it. But you just have to remember elderly person with testicular mass with cerebellar ataxia is what is to be remembered and answered in the exam by the name of non-Hodgkin lymphoma, particularly DLBCL. Right? Just give me a minute. So just happen to make that kind of an acronym or a mnemonic, and therefore just making a mention of this for the benefit of the people in the future as well. Right? That's what we need to remember. अरे इतने सारे निमोनिक तो तुम्हें बताए हैं भाई, ये आज ही क्लास में निकले हैं. B और 8 वाला तो निकल गया, EBV वाला तो निकल गया. इसका प्रोग्नोसिस अच्छा है। हो सकता है हमारे बाकी निमोनिक्स कथा कहानियों की तरह ABCD, माई ब्लड ग्रुप इज RH पॉजिटिव, शार्प, बाकी जनता भी कॉपी कर ले, बट आप फर्स्ट लोग हो जिनके साथ ये डिस्कशन हो रहा है। तो फिर आपको हमेशा याद रहेगा, मुझे तो हमेशा याद रहेगा कि आपके इस चक्कर में आपको समझाने के लिए मुझे भी याद रहा। राइट, सो दैट इज व्हाट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर। एंड देन व्हेन वी टॉकिंग अबाउट मार्जिनल जोन लिम्फोमा, marginal zone lymphoma is going to be seen in case of patients. I just need to kind of remove this. Marginal zone lymphoma is going to be seen in case of patients. The tumor is going to be having the presence of a translocation. This translocation is going to be 11, 18. 11, 18. So आपने एक चीज याद रखनी है, whenever you're going to be having a tumor which is going to be arising from M, you write M like this. देखना M ही नहीं बन रहा अब। एंड M के लिए आपको हमेशा याद रखना है ट्रांसलोकेशन 11 इज इंपॉर्टेंट। Translocation 11 is what is going to be important. So mantle zone and marginal zone. Mantle zone is 11, 14. Mantle zone is 11, 14. Two people, two kids who are going to be of cross age or who are going to be having a closer age group. Margin is one child is 11, the other one is marginally an adult. एक 11 है और एक 18 है, मार्जिन पे आ गए। So he doesn't consider himself as a child, 11, 18. That is what you need to remember. And this is going to be associated with the fact that there is going to be a history of a long standing inflammation. So patients who are going to be having a development of a tumor like moltoma because of H. pylori infection. Patient having a history of Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Hashimoto's thyroiditis. They can also be having a development of marginal zone lymphoma. So any patient who is going to be having the presence of a chronic inflammation, he is the one who's going to be having the presence of, he's the one who's going to be having the presence of marginal zone lymphoma. Now I didn't get Himanshu. What do you wish to ask? June 2022. You pass. समझ नहीं आया भाई। मन की कुछ भावनाएं हैं जो आप व्यक्त करना चाहते हो, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही है अभी। हो सकता है कि ऐसा हो सकता है कि 10:30 बज गए इसलिए ऐसा हो रहा हो सकता है कि आप जो समझा रहे हो मुझे नहीं आ रहा समझ। राइट, सो दिस इज व्हाट वी नीड टू हैव एन आइडिया सो फार एज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ नॉन हॉस्किन लिम्फोमा इज कंसर्न्ड, ऑफ कोर्स फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ, फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ, ओके ठीक है। Okay, so there are people who are chatting amongst themselves and we get confused that they are giving attention and love to us. ठीक है, so when we are going to be talking about, we're going to be having it at least till something like 11:30 or 12 के बीच में खत्म कर देंगे हर्षिता, hopefully. So we are going to be having tumors which are going to be given the name of Waldenstrom's macroglobulinemia, which is arising from the plasmablast, and a tumor which is going to be arising from the plasma cell that you read in orthopedics, plasma cell multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma. Yeah, DLBCL is going to be having a poor prognosis for sure. Now, when I talk about multiple myeloma, you can just revise it from your orthopedics knowledge. Multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma patients are going to be having the involvement of most commonly which particular bone? Which is the bone most commonly affected? Lytic lesions are seen in the patient. स्कल में सबसे कॉमनली होते हैं लाइटिक लीजन, सबसे कॉमनली you're going to be having the involvement of, भाई ये तो याद होना चाहिए ना, सबसे कॉमनली you're going to be having the involvement of vertebral column, then you're going to be having the involvement of ribs, then you're going to be having the involvement of skull. VRS बुजुर्गों की बीमारी है ना, बुजुर्ग लोग VRS ले लेते हैं। So VRS, so vertebra, then you're going to be having involvement of ribs, then you're going to be having involvement of skull. ठीक है, that is what you need to remember. As and when we're going to be making a mention of something like image based questions, I hope God bless the soul of this child who has been the source of so many questions. African child having the presence of a jaw mass, Epstein-Barr virus, VRS, voluntary retirement scheme होती है यार, right? Burkitt's lymphoma, and this Burkitt's lymphoma is going to be having the presence of a starry sky appearance. So you have lots and lots of tumor cells which are going to be appearing in the black color, and these are proliferating at a very fast rate, very aggressive, right? In order to kill the tumor cells, you are going to be having presence of macrophages. So you can see those empty white areas over here as well. So in a dark night, you're going to be having some shiny stars. है ना? Metaphorically or philosophically, that is what happens for everybody. Even when you are having a very dark time, there will be some friends, some relatives, some good people, some good acts, which are always going to be shining out as a difference, right? Hanji, Hanji. So macrophages are the stars. Exactly. The background of the night is because of the tumor cells. Same thing happening over here, right? So we say metaphorically कि आप किसी के ट्यूमर सेल बनो या ना बनो, बट किसी के मैक्रोफाज जरूर बन जाना. Be the reason somebody has a star-like appearance in their lives. Everybody goes through some low phases. Everybody has a dark phase in their life. Everybody has it. There is no doubt to that. In spite of knowing it, for people who appear to you as if they are invincible, but they're always going to be having their own struggles. That is what you need to remember, right? So we just need to have an idea and just be familiar with that particular fact. Okay. Just a minute. Just a minute. What happened? No, I would have been pretty bad. Yeah, I would have been a pretty bad psychiatrist. Psychiatrist, being a psychiatrist is not everybody's cup of tea. You should pursue that branch not because of the fact it offers you great opportunities in terms of money as well as dealing and healing the patients mentally, but you should have a passion for it. Everybody cannot listen to that much of a I would say सुबह से शाम तक किसी का दुखड़ा नहीं सुन सकते यार आप. पेरेंट्स तो होते हैं यार, पेरेंट्स की तो बात ही अलग है. हाउ कैन यू नेवर हैव अ कंपैरिजन फॉर दोस पीपल विद एनीबॉडी एल्स इन द वर्ल्ड. नहीं, मुझे लग रहा है मेरी पैथ फार्मा के नॉलेज से ज्यादा आजकल जो नॉलेज बढ़ रही है वो फिलोसफी और ह्यूमन रिलेशनशिप्स की बढ़ रही है, राइट? Talking about the next one, about which we need to have an idea, which is going to be given the name of something like hairy cell leukemia. Hairy cell leukemia is an example of a situation that is going to be affecting B cells. So easy for us to remember, hairy boys, B cells. It's an example of a B cell cancer. B for remember the fact there is involvement of bone marrow and there is always going to be an involvement of spleen in the patients. Now, what is the clinical significance? The clinical significance of knowing about this fact is that we are going to be having the presence of splenic involvement, and splenic involvement is going to be associated with splenomegaly. That's obviously logical. Splenomegaly is going to be seen over here. Now, few minutes back, prior to going on the dinner break, when I was making a mention of massive splenomegaly, I told you about leukocytosis. Leukocytosis. So, leukocytosis and splenomegaly is going to be a feature of CML. But in these patients having hairy cell leukemia, you are having splenomegaly, but there is involvement of bone marrow in the form of infiltration, and that is going to be responsible for causing pancytopenia. So read the question carefully in the exam. When you're talking about massive splenomegaly, when you're talking about massive splenomegaly and you associated with something like leukocytosis, TLC count being high, you're thinking and you're talking about a patient who's going to be having CML. But when the question says the patient is going to be having splenomegaly, massive splenomegaly with pancytopenia, that means you're dealing with a patient suffering from hairy cell leukemia. Now, because the patient is going to be having the presence of pancytopenia, so these patients are always going to be having a high risk of suffering from infections. And what kind of infections are going to be seen in these individuals? So he is a boy who's going to be having a name Mac. Mac. मैक है इस बच्चे का नाम. हेरी सेल ल्यूकीमिया, जो बच्चा बहुत हेरी है उसका नाम है मैक. इसी को हिंदी पिक्चरों के अंदर ए कपूर के नाम से जाना जाता है. बट वी नीड टू बी फेमिलियर विद द फैक्ट दैट मैक इज गोइंग टू बी माइकोबैक्टीरियम माइकोबैक्टीरियम एटिपिकल माइकोबैक्टीरियम इन्फेक्शन. एटिपिकल माइकोबैक्टीरियम इन्फेक्शन. हाँ जी, हाँ जी. ल्यूकेमिया रिएक्शन प्रॉफ के एग्जाम के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट होता है भाई. वो पीजी एंट्रेंस एग्जाम में अभी नहीं आया, राइट? So hairy cell leukemia, think in terms of the famous guy Jacques. He's going to be having the presence of involvement of the bone marrow and spleen. Spleen is increased in size. Pancytopenia is what is going to be seen. Atypical mycobacterium infections. Now, whenever we're going to be talking about the hairy cell leukemia, this is going to be associated with a particular type of a mutation, and that mutation is what I made a mention of with you yesterday as well, BRAF mutation. BRAF mutation. So remember the fact BRAF mutation is what we talked about in association with melanoma, hairy cell leukemia, and we talked about that in association with papillary thyroid cancer also. Papillary thyroid cancer, 2024's question, which we discussed yesterday itself. Right? So this is what is going to be seen in a patient who's going to be having BRAF mutation. BRAF mutation. Right? How do I detect the presence of this specific mutation? This specific mutation is going to be given the name of V600E mutation. अगर मेरे को एक सिंगल पॉइंट म्यूटेशन देखनी है, सिंगल पॉइंट म्यूटेशन को चेक करना होता है, तो व्हाट इज द बेस्ट इन्वेस्टिगेशन? व्हाट इज द बेस्ट इन्वेस्टिगेशन बाय विच आई कैन कंफर्म दिस? INICT क्वेश्चन. इन केस यू फॉलो द क्वेश्चंस PYQs, आई वांट यू टू रिमेंबर दैट फिश से नहीं देखते. फिश देखते हैं जब क्रोमोसोम्स के ऊपर आपको देखना होता है फ्यूजन, ट्रांसलोकेशन देखनी होती है. पॉइंट म्यूटेशन देखने के लिए नहीं जी नहीं. सिंगल बेस प्राइमर एक्सटेंशन टेस्ट. सिंगल बेस प्राइमर एक्सटेंशन टेस्ट. INICT 2023. कैसे भूल सकते हो सवाल यार? whenever we are talking about point mutations you have to go in for single base primer extension test. और रॉबिन्स के अंदर यही एग्जांपल दिया हुआ है जो आपके एग्जाम में पूछा था, बीरा म्यूटेशन का V600E वाला. So whether he is giving an example of hairy cell leukemia, or he talks about nevus, or he talks about melanoma, or he talks about papillary thyroid cancer, if he talks about the same example, this is what you need to remember. राइट? सिंगल बेस प्राइमर एक्सटेंशन टेक्स्ट. PYQs को प्लीज देख लिया करो, वीडियो डिस्कशन इंपॉर्टेंट है. दे कैन हेल्प यू क्रैक अ लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस इन द एग्जाम. नाउ द अदर क्वेश्चन आस्क्ड इन द एग्जाम इज रिगार्डिंग द अपीयरेंस ऑफ द ट्यूमर सेल्स ओवर हियर. वी टॉक्ड अबाउट हेरी सेल ल्यूकेमिया फॉर द सिंपल फैक्ट, if I am going to be talking about bone marrow aspiration, what will I get over here? I will get a dry tap. So what do I have to do for a confirmation of diagnosis? Bone marrow biopsy. And bone marrow biopsy is going to be giving me appearance. What is the appearance that I'm going to be getting in these patients? I'm going to be having the presence of fried egg colonies. Tumor cells which are going to be having the presence of a fried egg appearance. Why is fried egg appearance? Surrounding the nucleus, surrounding the nucleus, you are going to be having the presence of a empty white area. Surrounding the nucleus, you are having the presence of a empty white area. So that is what is going to be given the name of a fried egg appearance. Fried egg appearance, right? You can be using other techniques also. For example, I can be using a stain over here. It used to be used very commonly. It is still being used now, but the stain is called as trap stain. Trap stain. Trap. So when somebody is going to be having presence of a lot of hair, obviously the cells, the bees, the flies can get trapped over here. बॉइल्ड एग लग रहा है ये, सिंगल फ्राई. इसकी याद आ रही है, फ्राइड एग अपीयरेंस. अभी तो खाना खाया तुमने, कम मत तो पेट भरा हुआ है, अब किसी और के लिए छोड़ दो. ट्रैप स्टेन, टार्ट्रेट रेजिस्टेंट एसिड फॉस्फेटेज ट्रैप स्टेन. इट इज गोइंग टू बी हैविंग द इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ द cells which are going to be having this kind of an appearance. How would you remember it? You would remember it for the fact the patient's having a splenic involvement. Red pulp of the spleen is involved. Reddish appearance, red pulp. अपीयरेंस से याद रहेगा यार. कहानियां याद करके याद रखेगा ना. हेरी, हेरी से याद रहेगा. बॉय का नाम मैक, हेरी से याद रहेगा बॉय. बॉय से याद रहेगा बोन मैरो. बोन मैरो के अलावा याद रखेगा स्प्लीन. स्प्लीनोमेगैली पैनसाइटोपिनिया, मैक का नाम. फिर बॉय है तो वो ब्राफ के बारे में सोचेगा. ब्राफ के बारे में सोचेगा तो फिर आपको एस्पिरेशन पे ड्राई टैप. ड्राई टैप के बारे में बायोप्सी. ठीक है. एंड दैट दिस इज व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी हैविंग अ फाइंड. ठीक है. स्माइलीज आ रही हैं प्यारी, समझ गई. चलो आगे बढ़ जाएं. When we are going to be talking about something like this, we are going to be having an electron microscopic appearance as well. That is what you need to remember. So you are going to be having a black and white picture over here, which is going to be having the presence of a projection like this. Black and white appearance, which is going to be having a projection like this. हाँ हाँ हाँ, बिल्कुल वही वही. एनिमल वाले डैडी, बलबीर सिंह. चलो. When we are talking about something like this, right? So this is what you need to remember so far as hairy cell leukemia is concerned. Now talking about the markers. मतलब मार्कर्स में आत्मा अटकी हुई है ना? क्योंकि वो नहीं बताया तो ऐसा लगेगा कि सर हमें आते थे आपने नहीं बताए. तो सबसे पहले तो वही जिसके बारे में आप सुनना चाहते हो वो है Annexin A1. फिर आ गया CD11. फिर आ गया CD25. देन आ गया CD103. ठीक है जी. सो दीज आर द डिफरेंट एग्जांपल ऑफ मार्कर्स. अब बता दो अपनी वही कहानी, कोई ना कोई कमेंट करके भाई रिवाइज करा दो. एनेक्सिन लिखा नहीं अभी तक किसी ने. सर वो एनेक्सिन बी जो था वो एपोप्टोसिस में था, Annexin A1 जो है इवन हेरी सेल ल्यूकीमिया. ठीक है. ठीक है. तो वो हमें रिवाइज करना है, वो हमें ध्यान रखना है. Which particular pattern of cell death is going to be characterized by GPX, glutathione peroxidase as a marker? Glutathione peroxidase as a marker. Glutathione peroxidase as a marker. Ferroptosis. Which one is going to be having a marker as LC3? LC3. Spleen का part red pulp. Red pulp. LC3 as a marker. Autophagy. Autophagy. Which one is going to be having the involvement of caspase 14511? Caspase 14511. Pyroptosis. What is the second name given to programmed necrosis? Programmed necrosis. Programmed necrosis. Necroptosis. What is the most characteristic or the hallmark feature of apoptosis? Characteristic or the hallmark feature of apoptosis? बता दो जल्दी से. क्रोमैटिन कंडेंसेशन का मतलब तो इन्फ्लामेशन इज एब्सेंट, वो तो किसी में भी नहीं हो रही. क्रोमैटिन कंडेंसेशन. न्यूक्लियर कंडेंसेशन से बेटर है बट क्रोमैटिन कंडेंसेशन प्लीज. थैंक यू. ठीक है चलो, देयर इज ल्यूकेमिया. अभी आगे एनाप्लास्टिक टी सेल लिम्फोमा. Anaplastic T cell lymphoma. Whenever we are talking about anaplastic lymphoma, what we need to remember the fact over here is that these are the patients who are going to be having an involvement of a gene. जीन का नाम मैं आपके लिए लिख के दूंगा, आपने मेरे को बाकी सारे कैंसर रिवाइज करके बताने. ALK, एनाप्लास्टिक लिम्फोमा. इसके अलावा दो और. AL, एनाप्लास्टिक लिम्फोमा. एनाप्लास्टिक लिम्फोमा. AL also for adenocarcinoma of the lung. Then neuroblastoma. Then inflammatory myofibroblastic tumor. नीट पीजी के लेवल तक हम आ रहे हैं, INI के लेवल से नीचे गिर जाते हैं. मैं बहुत ब्लंटली बोल रहा हूँ. AL, एनिडोकार्सिनोमा ऑफ द लंग. एडिनोकार्सिनोमा लंग. AL, एनाप्लास्टिक लिम्फोमा. इन्फ्लामेटरी मायोफाइब्रोब्लास्टिक ट्यूमर लिस्ट के अंदर लिखा हुआ था. हो सकता है आपने रिवाइज ना किया हो, बट उसको रिवाइज करना है. इन्फ्लामेटरी मायोफाइब्रोब्लास्टिक ट्यूमर, राइट. Anaplastic T cell lymphoma is going to be characterized by the fact that we are going to be having the presence of tumor cells like this. So these cells are going to be given the name of, इनको नाम ही आप देते हो hallmark cells. These cells are going to be given the name of hallmark cells. Why do we need to talk about hallmark cells? If you see the appearance of the hallmark cells, they will remind you of something like a, they will remind you of something like a horseshoe shaped appearance. Horseshoe shape, inverted U, horseshoe shape. Or as our books make a mention of the fact, they are going to be having an appearance which is going to be having the presence of embryoid nucleus, embryo-like nucleus. So embryoid nucleus or horseshoe shaped nucleus. Horseshoe shaped nucleus is going to be a typical feature. It's a very characteristic feature that you have in case of a patient who is going to be having the presence of hallmark cells. And that is what is going to be seen in a patient suffering from anaplastic T cell lymphoma. Anaplastic T cell lymphoma. Please remember, in contrast to other lymphomas arising from B cells, this is a cancer arising from T cell. It's a cancer arising from T cell. ठीक है, ये वाली चीज हमें एग्जाम के पर्सपेक्टिव से ध्यान रखनी है. हॉजकिंस नॉन हॉजकिंस में ज्यादातर बी सेल वाले कैंसर्स हैं. हेरी सेल भी बी सेल कैंसर है, बट दिस वन इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ अ टी सेल कैंसर. गोइंग फर्दर, वी आर गोइंग टू बी हैविंग एन एग्जांपल ऑफ अ कंडीशन in which this was a 2022 image question. The patient was having the presence of lots and lots of bone marrow cells, and these cells, if you observe carefully, are having the presence of nucleus not in the center. ये पैथ ऑर्थोपेडिक्स का रिलेशन जो आपके सामने शेयर कर रहा हूँ. पेशेंट्स आर हैविंग प्रेजेंस ऑफ सेल्स ओवर हेयर which are having the presence of eccentric nucleus, eccentric nucleus. So these cells which are having the presence of a clock face chromatin, having the presence of eccentric nucleus, are given the name of plasma cells. Which condition is having plasma cells in high number? Of course, you are all aware. We are dealing with an individual who is going to be suffering from a malignancy. That is what is going to be given the name of multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma. Now, what can be the example of questions that can be asked in the exam from multiple myeloma? These can be the example of image-based questions. So, MOT cells, which was again given as a question in the exam 2023, you can be having flame cells, Russell body, immunoglobulins are present, and we are having a body which is given the name of Dutcher body. So, Russell body, Dutcher body, MOT cell, flame cell, Russell body, Dutcher body, MOT cell, flame cell, Dutcher body, Russell body, MOT cell, flame cell is what you see in a patient suffering from multiple myeloma. Don't forget, patients are going to be having multiple lytic lesions. Vertebrae are involved, so backache. Elderly patient with a backache, lower backache, he is going to be having the presence of multiple lytic lesions in the skull. multiple lytic lesions in the skull. Multiple lytic lesions in the skull. What is that going to be associated with the term? क्या टर्म एसोसिएट करते हैं इसके साथ में हम? मल्टीपल लाइटिक लीजन्स. देखने में डेड बॉडी लगती है. Punched out lytic lesions. Elderly patient who's going to be having a backache, having the presence of punched out lytic lesions. Similarly, you can be having the involvement of the upper part of the femur. You can be having the involvement of the pelvis as well. Lytic lesions in the pelvis and the femur as well. And is going to be associated with the development of hypercalcemia. Why hypercalcemia? Because of osteoclast. Why osteoclast? Because of interleukin 6. We discussed that on the very first day. Right? So this is what is going to be seen as a feature of a patient having multiple myeloma. Patient having feature of multiple myeloma. Another feature of multiple myeloma patient, if I can just help you remember, is when I perform a serum electrophoresis in this patient, what I'm going to be getting in this patient is a typical type of a spike. That is what is given the name of M spike. M spike. What is the meaning of M spike? M means it is because of which immunoglobulin? M spike in multiple myeloma is possible or because of which immunoglobulin? The answer is not IgM. The answer is IgG. IgG. M का मतलब क्या है यहाँ पे? M का मतलब मेरा नहीं है. M का मतलब मनी नहीं है. M का मतलब है मोनोक्लोनल. मोनोक्लोनल. So tumor cells are going to be having a single origin. This is what is going to be associated with monoclonal. So single cell giving rise to multiple cells over here. That is what is going to be associated with the cancer, monoclonal. And that's why the nature of the antibody over here is going to be IgG. So what was the question given in the exam? This is what they gave you in the exam. Serum protein electrophoresis का pattern दे दिया था आपको. So in that you are going to be given a picture like this. Different patterns G, A, M, D, E. And similarly, you're going to be giving a picture in the exam which can be talking about kappa, lambda. If you remember 2024's question, they had a big band over here, they had a big band over here. So multiple myeloma, which is going to be associated with increase in the overproduction of IgM. That was given in the exam question. Most of the patients, multiple myeloma में जिनके अंदर antibody होती है, that is going to be IgG. M spike IgG. Right? This is what you need to remember. How do we make a diagnosis of multiple myeloma? Just a revision, hopefully has been discussed with you in orthopedics as well. The patient should be having the presence of at least 10% biopsy proven plasma cells. Plus, you are going to be having the presence of CRAB criteria, or you can be having the presence of SLIM criteria. CRAB criteria, or you're going to be having the presence of SLIM criteria. So, what you need to remember over here is patients could be having the presence of C for calcium. Hypercalcemia. Calcium is going to be increased in these patients. Or what these patients can be having is renal dysfunction. So calcium is increased, renal insufficiency, A for anemia, bony lytic lesions. Slim means 60 से ज़्यादा, 60 और उससे ज़्यादा clonal plasma cells. So these is what are going to be given the name of myeloma defining events. You show organ dysfunction or you show presence of biomarkers. Organ dysfunction or biomarkers. Li means light chain, involved light chain. Out of kappa or lambda, only one type of light chain is produced in high numbers. Suppose kappa is produced in high numbers, then kappa is going to be produced 100 times more than lambda light chain. That is the meaning of involved light chain. M for MRI finding having a focal marrow lesion which is going to be more than 5 millimeters. So very surprising. This is what we were expecting to be asked in the exam when it was introduced, the SLIM criteria, the biomarker criteria, but surprisingly has not been asked in the exam so far. And one of the most important things that you need to remember over here is the authority in the world for making a diagnostic criteria for multiple myeloma happens to be an Indian, Dr. Rajkumar. Right? CRAB and SLIM. That is what is required for multiple myeloma. तो इनमें से अगर कोई भी दिख जाए, कोई भी, any of them, right? He is an authority, right? तो अगर if he can do it, if Professor Vinay Kumar can do it, you and me are also equally blessed, right? उनको अगर अपना आदर्श रख के चलोगे तो कहीं तो पहुंच जाओगे. मोर देन 10 तो होना ही चाहिए. देखिए यार, मोर देन 10 के अलावा ये वाली फाइंडिंग्स हो. अगर आपके पास एक पेशेंट है जिसमें नंबर ऑफ ट्यूमर सेल्स इतने ज्यादा है 60 से ज्यादा, तो फिर तो कुछ और की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ती. फिर तो ये सेटिस्फाई हो गया. फिर तो 10 वाला क्राइटेरिया भी सेटिस्फाई हो रहा है, 60 वाला भी हो रहा है. राइट, दैट्स व्हाट यू नीड टू. Then talking about LCA, there is this fairly easy one. Because this is what people love to ask and remember in the exam. This is talking about something like the presence of tennis racket appearance. So Langerhans cell histiocytosis. Again, something that you associate with BRAF mutation. Burbeck granules BRAF mutation. That is what you need to remember. Also, what you need to remember over here is going to be the markers CD1A, HLA-DR, S100, sorry, this one S100, and CD207. Questions expected in the exam on BRAF, questions are expected in the exam on CD1A, questions expected in the exam on CD207. BRAF म्यूटेशन वाला होता है यार मेलेनोमा, मेलिग्नेंट नीवस, मेलेनोमा, मेलिग्नेंट नीवस, हेरी सेल ल्यूकीमिया, पेपिलरी थायराइड कैंसर। इसके अलावा एलसीएच, पेपिलरी थायराइड कैंसर, हेरी सेल ल्यूकीमिया, मेलेनोमा, नीवस। ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट यू नीड टू हैव एन आईडी। मैं वेट ही कर रहा था मोहित किसी की, कोई तो है जो नोटबुक्स या वर्कबुक में से देख के बताएगा कि भाई 68 भी होता है। आया नहीं इस पे क्वेश्चन अभी तक यार। इस पे सबसे कॉमन आया है भाई, जो हाईलाइट किया है पहले उसको देख लो प्लीज। ठीक है, दैट्स व्हाट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर। Then we are talking about the example of conditions which are going to be affecting the platelets and clotting factors. Any patient who's going to be having a platelet trouble is going to be having the development of petechiae or purpura, superficial tiny bleeds. Any patient who's going to be having clotting factor problem is going to be having the development of bleeding in the joint tissue, hemarthrosis, or they are going to be having a bleeding in the muscle, hematoma or hemarthrosis. BRAF V600E, हाँ जी। ठीक है, that's what you need to remember. Please be familiar with the fact that whenever we are going to be talking about a patient who's going to be having a bleeding disorder, clotting factor deficiency is classically associated with some kind of history of trauma. Clotting factor deficiency is going to be associated with some kind of a history of trauma. So patient is going to be having a history of trauma, and then these patients are going to be having a development of a bleeding tendency. PTK purpura are going to be example of bleeds which are going to be spontaneous in nature, and therefore they are going to be example of mild bleeds. They are going to be typically example of mild bleeds. Right? What are the example of conditions in which the patients are going to be having this? So this is what is going to be identified by most of you. Identify these cells, fragmented cells, fragmented cells, fragmented cells. So this is going to be schistocytes. Schistocytes. Maha. If I'm talking about small vessel involvement, what is the commonest cause? DIC. If I'm talking about macro, दिल की बातें, बड़ी बातें, cardiac valves. Second example is hemangioma. Right? So you got a question in the exam that the patient was having the presence of a very strange kind of a sound on cardiac auscultation, and he was having the presence of schistocytes. So most likely, which of the following is a risk factor in the patient? Metallic cardiac valves. Metallic cardiac valves. Giant hemangioma, cardiac valve surgery, metallic cardiac valves is going to result in development of macroangiopathic hemolytic anemia. Macroangiopathic hemolytic anemia. Right? That's what you need to remember. Right? Which of the types of cells would you see in a patient who's going to be having the development of renal dysfunction? Revise करा दीजिए. Renal dysfunction. Acanthocyte मिलेगा, echinocyte मिलेगा. Acanthocyte, echinocyte. Echinocyte. Which one is going to be seen in a patient who's going to be having beta lipoproteinemia? A beta lipoproteinemia. Acanthocyte. Which one would you see in a patient who's going to be having a history of lot of alcohol intake? Alcohol intake or liver dysfunction. So liver dysfunction causes acanthocyte. Kidney dysfunction is responsible for causing echinocyte. Echinocyte. Right? That's what you need to remember. Talking about this kind of a table, pretty important from the exam's perspective. A lot of questions which were asked in the exam. Hemophilia A and B, examples of clotting factor problems. Hemophilia A because of factor 8 deficiency. Hemophilia B because of factor 9 deficiency. So hemophilia A is given the name of royal disease. Hemophilia B is given the name of Christmas disease. Hemophilia A, royal disease. Hemophilia B, it is going to be given the name of Christmas disease. In both these conditions, which pathway is affected? Which pathway is affected? There is going to be an involvement of the intrinsic pathway. Intrinsic pathway, longer pathway. So because the longer pathway is affected in the patients, APTT value is going to increase. Longer pathway is affected in the patient, so APTT value is going to increase. The rest of the other parameters are going to remain normal. What is the inheritance of this condition? Both these are examples of X-linked recessive conditions. X-linked recessive conditions. And as we said, X-linked recessive conditions loves boys. Boys. Boys, anyways, are interested more in the X factor. So remember the fact, X factor in boys. X factor. तभी वो पूरी की पूरी ad बना दी उन्होंने X के ऊपर. All boys got crazy. They thought that application of that particular perfume is what is going to be getting them the desired results. But, right? So X-linked recessive is going to be affecting boys. Right? This is what you need to remember. Now, what is going to be seen in the patient is classically. So a boy, 5-year-old boy, 6-year-old boy playing in the football field falls down, has a development of a hematoma or has a bleeding in the joint. Right? That is one situation. Another can be the individual was playing and he had a ball, cricket ball, tennis ball, or a football which hit him on the joint. And that is what is going to be causing the trouble in the individual. So that is what is responsible for causing an increase in APTT. Now, what is going to be the important fact? The important fact is if you have an individual who's going to be having hemophilia A, what is going to be given to this individual? Recombinant factor 8. If you have hemophilia B, you are going to be giving him recombinant factor 9. Recombinant factor 9. But sometimes they are not available. So as an alternative, what would you give to this patient? In this individual having hemophilia A, you are going to be treating him with the help of cryoprecipitate. Hemophilia B patient, you will be treating him with the help of fresh frozen plasma. Fresh frozen plasma. We can be having a special situation. There is a middle-aged lady. She is going to be having the presence of an autoimmune disorder. She is going to be having formation of autoantibody. And she produces this autoantibody against factor 8. So this condition is going to be given the name of the presence of factor inhibitors. This is given the name of factor inhibitors. Typically more commonly seen in case of females, the ones who are going to be having the presence of the autoantibody formation. This can also be seen in case of a person who has been given, a male who has been given factor 8 repeatedly. So the immune system can get activated against factor 8 coming from outside, and this can be responsible for the formation of factor inhibitors. Now, the point that you need to understand is that factor inhibitors, whenever they are present, they will not allow clotting factor to function properly. They will decrease the activity of clotting factor number 8. So what will happen? There is increase in the value of APTT. So whenever a person is going to be having increase in the value of APTT, there can be two types of differential diagnosis. There can be two important types of differential diagnosis. One can be that he is going to be having the presence of hemophilia. Or the second is he is having the presence of factor inhibitors. I hope the difference between both of them are clear to you from our discussion. ये एडवांस कॉन्सेप्ट है यार, वर्कबुक में नहीं दिया हुआ, तो आपको समझना है ये. APTT value is going to be increased, so patients can be having a deficiency of clotting factor that is given the name of hemophilia, or the patient could be having the presence of factor inhibitors. Patients could be having the presence of factor inhibitors. That is what we need to remember. Right? Flowchart दिया हुआ है वैसे यार, hopefully. How will you differentiate? You will differentiate between those two conditions by doing what is going to be given the name of a mixing study. What do you do in a mixing study? You take one part of normal plasma and you take one part of patient's plasma. One part of normal plasma, one part of patient's plasma. Mix both of them. अभी सपोज यू आर डीलिंग विद अ पेशेंट सफरिंग फ्रॉम हीमोफीलिया. हीमोफीलिया के अंदर क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर कम है. बट व्हेन यू डू द मिक्सिंग स्टडी, when you do the mixing study, what will happen? You are providing this clotting factor which is present in the normal plasma. So when you are going to be doing a mixing study, APTT value gets corrected. Or I can say APTT value becomes normal again. So if the patient was having initially an increase in the value of APTT, then it is going to become corrected or normal. That means we are dealing with hemophilia. I hope this is understandable. Hemophilia में factor 8 नहीं है, clotting factor नहीं था. So once you do the mixing, normal and patient's plasma, you are bringing the clotting factor from outside, the value will become corrected. But if a person is going to be having the presence of factor inhibitors are autoantibodies. So these antibodies will block the factor present in the normal plasma also. So in case of factor inhibitors, APTT value is going to remain elevated. It remains uncorrected. So that's why the single line I would like you to understand over here is that when we are talking about or having a doubt between hemophilia and factor inhibitors, we differentiate them on the basis of mixing study. If mixing study improves the value of APTT, it means we are dealing with a patient of hemophilia. If mixing study is not able to improve it, that means we are dealing with a patient suffering from factor inhibitors. This is a classical INI-CET concept. So you need to have an idea about this. As I said, I repeat it again that when we are talking about hemophilias, A is more than B is more than C. So hemophilia A, which is caused because of factor 8 problem, is very common, 9 is rare, and C, which is 11, is very, very rare. Thank you so much, Arun. When we are talking about A, it is A and B are examples of X-linked recessive. A and B is going to be associated with X factor, boys. And C means cute. Boys are not cute. No, they are autosomal recessive. So A and B are going to be. अबे बॉय स्ट्रांग होते हैं भाई, बुरा क्यों मान जाते हो, ऐसे इमोशनल हो जाते हैं एकदम. A and B are going to be X-linked recessive. कन्याओं को भी तो जीने दोगे, autosomal recessive. Everything is not about sex chromosome ना, something is about autosome also. So autosomal recessive, hemophilia C. ठीक है, so that is what you need to remember over here. Then talking about this condition which was asked in the exam, von Willebrand disease. Von Willebrand disease. Von Willebrand disease is going to be having an important property. It is the most common inheritable cause of bleeding. First line is itself a question. Robbins की line उठा के. Most common inheritable cause of bleeding is von Willebrand disease. It is an example of a condition in which the gene is going to be present on which chromosome? Von Willebrand disease. Von Willebrand disease. Most common inheritable cause of bleeding. Chromosome number 12. Chromosome number 12. ये अभी याद रह रहा है, एग्जाम में भी याद रहना चाहिए. Whenever we are talking about von Willebrand disease, it is of three types. Type 1, type 2, type 3. Type 1 is number 1. It is most common. Good point is nature is kind to us. It is mildest. It is going to be most common. It is going to be mildest. What's the problem over here? There is a small decrease in the concentration of von Willebrand factor. Small decrease in the concentration of von Willebrand factor. Type 3 is rare. It is most severe. Massive deficiency of von Willebrand factor. Massive deficiency of von Willebrand factor. So in 1 and 3, first is number 1, most common. Third is third class. Third class क्यों? क्योंकि सबसे ज्यादा severe bleeding के chance है. That's how we remember it. Number 1 is most common. Most common is number 1. So that is most commonly seen clinically. And third is rarest. It is going to be third class. Third class because it is going to be very severe. So patients are going to be having large deficiency. Number 2 is somewhere in between. So it is going to be a problem of functional defect. Functional defect. What is meant by the term functional defect? Von Willebrand factor is there, but it is not able to function properly. It is not able to function properly. So normal von Willebrand quantity, normal quantity, but it is a functional defect, cannot function properly. This is having further subtypes 2A, 2B, 2M, 2N, right? That's what you need to remember. So this is what I was asked to you as a question in the exam, that which one of them is the mildest, that is one. Which of them is the commonest, that is again one. Which of them is the most severe, that is type 3. Which one of them is going to be having massive defect, type 3. Which one of them is going to be a functional defect? Functional defect is type 2. What's the problem with von Willebrand disease? Normal function of the von Willebrand factor. Normal function पता होगा तो बाकी सारी कहानी आसान है. Von Willebrand factor is required for platelet function and it is required for factor 8 activity. Platelet adhesion and factor 8 activity. So any patient who's going to be having von Willebrand deficiency will be having decrease in platelet adhesion, will be having decrease in factor 8 activity. If there is a decrease in platelet adhesion, the value of bleeding time is going to increase. If there is a decrease in factor 8 activity, the value of intrinsic pathway gets affected. It is going to increase. There is normal platelet count. There is normal value of prothrombin time. So that is exactly what you see in a patient suffering from von Willebrand deficiency. So 5 points, in fact, to remember about von Willebrand disease. Most common inheritable cause of bleeding, please never forget it. Gene present on chromosome number 12, don't forget it. Most common and the mildest is type 1. The most severe and having a massive defect is type 3. Functional defect is type 2. And in case of patient who's going to be having von Willebrand disease, this is a unique finding. BT and APTT value is going to increase. BT and APTT value is going to increase. Rest of the things are normal. Finally, your examiners have asked you a lot of questions on DIC. Every parameter is affected in DIC. Platelets go down, bleeding time increases, PT increases, APTT increases. Why? Because there is a problem of platelets, clotting factors, and there is a problem of fibrinolytic pathway also. Problem of fibrinolytic pathway also. FDP means fibrin degradation products. This can be given in the exam by the second important name of D-dimers. Can be given in the exam in the form of the second important name as D-dimers. That's what you need to remember over here so far as this particular table is concerned. Very, very high table considering what they have asked you in the exam in the last few papers. Talking about one single test which can give you information about the functioning of clotting factors, platelets, and fibrinolytic pathway. This test is going to be given the name of thromboelastography. This test is given the name of thromboelastography. सो जा भाई आदित्य भाई, सो जा जाके. Thromboelastography is something that is going to be associated with a graph that I want you to make like this. First phase, second phase, third phase, and then fourth one. What is each of these phase? First phase is because of clotting factors. First phase is because of clotting factors. Second phase is going to be seen because of presence of fibrinogen. Second is because of fibrinogen. Third phase is because of the height. इस height को हम नाम देते हैं maximum amplitude. That is because of platelets. And phase number 4 is what is going to be associated with fibrinolysis. Phase 4, fibrinolysis. राइट, इसको आपने ध्यान से समझना है। अगर आपने खुद से बनाया ग्राफ, आपको हमेशा याद रहेगा। फेज 1 क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर, फेज 2 फाइब्रिनोजन। हाइट पे ले जाइए इसे, मैक्सिमम एम्पलीट्यूड, मैक्सिमम हाइट प्लेटलेट्स। लेके आइए नीचे फाइब्रिनोलाइटिक पाथवे, 1 2 3 and 4, 1 2 3 and 4, right? So whenever we wish to look at this graph, this is what is going to be an indicator for us, right? So thromboelastography is being performed in the emergencies when you want to look at the activity of clotting factors, platelets, and fibrinolytic pathway with a single test. Now, if I give you this graph, which of these four phases is going to be affected out of 1 2 3 4? Which of them is going to be affected in a patient suffering from hemophilia? आप ये आंसर करो, आपके एग्जाम के क्वेश्चन खुद से क्रैक हो जाएंगे। हीमोफीलिया, तो आपका आंसर होगा बहुत कॉन्फिडेंटली फेज 1। Which of them is going to be affected in a patient who has been given a drug like clopidogrel और एस्पिरिन? क्लोपिडोग्रेल और एस्पिरिन कौन से ग्रुप की दवाई है? एंटी प्लेटलेट। तो वो क्या करेगी, इसको इन्वॉल्व कर देगी, फेज 3 की हाइट को कम कर देगी। 2023 का क्वेश्चन। इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट अ ड्रग लाइक स्ट्रेप्टोकाइनेज, स्ट्रेप्टोकाइनेज किसको काम करेगी? स्ट्रेप्टोकाइनेज, फेज 4 के ऊपर। तो ये ग्राफ जो आपको समझना है, नॉर्मल ग्राफ, पहले एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन पूछा उसने 2020 के अंदर, नेम ऑफ द टेस्ट बाय विच वी कैन डिटेक्ट द एक्टिविटी ऑफ क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर, प्लेटलेट्स एंड फाइब्रोलाइटिक पाथवे, द आंसर इज टेग। सेकंड क्वेश्चन उसने आपसे एग्जाम में पूछा, मैक्सिमम एम्पलीट्यूड डिपेंड्स अपॉन विच of the following platelet activity. Then he can ask you about phase 1, which is also called as reaction time. R time depends upon clotting factor, right? अभी इसका क्लिनिकल एप्लीकेशन जो अभी तक एग्जाम में नहीं आया वो है ग्राफ। तो आप खुद से अगर इसको बनाओगे आपको हमेशा याद रहेगा। फेज 1 ये 2, ये मैक्सिमम हाइट 3, और ये उसके बाद वाली कहानी 4। So if you look at what is going to be expected in a graph in a patient having hemophilia, in hemophilia phase 1 is what is going to be prolonged। कंपैरिजन के लिए नॉर्मल देख लीजिए इतना, यहाँ पे फेज 1 प्रोलॉन्ग हो गया, हीमोफीलिया में ये इंक्रीज हो गया, हीमोफीलिया में ये इंक्रीज हो गया, राइट, क्योंकि सिर्फ क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर का प्रॉब्लम है, राइट। इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट प्लेटलेट्स, पेशेंट हैज बीन गिवन अ ड्रग लाइक एस्पिरिन, पेशेंट हैज बीन गिवन अ ड्रग लाइक क्लोपिडोग्रेल। नॉर्मल ग्राफ की हाइट होनी चाहिए थी इतनी, आपके पेशेंट की ग्राफ की हाइट है कम, बिकॉज मैक्सिमम एम्पलीट्यूड इज गोइंग टू बी डिक्रीज्ड, मैक्सिमम एम्पलीट्यूड इज गोइंग टू बी डिक्रीज्ड। सो ये ग्राफ की हाइट होनी चाहिए थी, ये आपके पेशेंट के अंदर ग्राफ की हाइट है प्लेटलेट ब्लॉकर्स। टू मच ऑफ फाइब्रिनोलाइसिस, स्ट्रेप्टोकाइनेस का इंजेक्शन दे दिया आपने, स्ट्रेप्टोकाइनेस का इंजेक्शन दे दिया। सो फेज 1 क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर का प्रॉब्लम है, हाइट की प्रॉब्लम मतलब प्लेटलेट की प्रॉब्लम है। अगर फाइब्रोलाइसिस ज्यादा हो गया तो ग्राफ आपका पेशेंट का ऐसे आ गया, है ना। तो काफी सारे लोग इसको बीटीआर वाले निमोनिक से याद रखते हैं, रणबीर कपूर अल्फा मेल वाले से, बट आपको ये वाली चीज याद रखनी है। कौन सी कंडीशन है जिसमें सब कुछ अफेक्ट हो जाता है? डीआईसी, DIC. So what you're going to be getting in DIC is going to be an example of a graph which is going to be resembling just like a teardrop. इस ड्रॉप को हम बोलते हैं, इस टीयर ड्रॉप को ड्रॉप ऑफ डेथ। क्रिटिकल केयर के अंदर, इमरजेंसी मेडिसिन के अंदर, विच इज अ ब्रांच in which MD has been started in the last 2 years itself, is going to be associated with ड्रॉप ऑफ डेथ। ड्रॉप जैसा पैटर्न बन जाता है, मतलब DIC हो गया पेशेंट को, तो ना तो प्लेटलेट्स काम कर रही हैं, ना क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर काम कर रहे हैं, ना फाइब्रोलाइटिक पाथवे ठीक से काम कर रहा है। सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी गिवन द नेम ऑफ ड्रॉप ऑफ डेथ। फेज 2 मतलब रेट ऑफ डिपोजिशन ऑफ फाइब्रिनोजन, रेट ऑफ डिपोजिशन ऑफ फाइब्रिनोजन। सो आपके एग्जाम में जो एक्सपेक्टेड क्वेश्चन है वो इन तीन के ऊपर है, नॉर्मल को कंपैरिजन करते हुए हीमोफीलिया, थ्रोम्बोसाइटोपिनिया, एस्पिरिन और क्लोपिडोग्रेल, एंड देन एक्सेसिव फाइब्रोलाइटिक पाथवे लाइक दिस। ये वन लाइनर क्वेश्चन हो सकता है, ड्रॉप ऑफ डेथ, ड्रॉप, डी से ड्रॉप ऑफ डेथ, डी से DIC, दैट इज व्हाट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर। बैड नेम बैड डिजीज, right? So that is about TEG pattern. Finally, we wind up our discussion by talking about two more important topics. This is just for a revision: vacutainers and blood transfusion, right? So each of these vacutainers are going to be having a different color and they are going to be having different chemicals present in them. So they are going to be useful for different types of tests which need to be performed in your patients depending upon what exactly is going to be the requirement. Right? So I hope that you will be able to answer this question for me. That if you have a patient who's going to be having the first Vacutainer, which is a blue colored Vacutainer, it contains trisodium citrate. ट्राइसोडियम साइट्रेट जिसमें होगा उसमें आप कौन से टेस्ट कर सकते हो? पीटी और एपीटीटी, पीटी एंड एपीटीटी, पीटी एंड एपीटीटी, right? 2021's question. Would you need to remember the fact when we are talking about the red colored Vacutainer, it contains silica, that is clot activator, clot activator. So जहां पे भी आपको सीरम वाले टेस्ट करने हैं, सीरम वाले टेस्ट करने हैं, सिमिलरली सीरम वाले टेस्ट आप येलो वाले में भी कर सकते हो. क्लिनिकली ज्यादा कॉमनली हम प्रैक्टिकली यूज करते हैं रेड वाला बिकॉज दैट कंटेन्स क्लॉट एक्टिवेटर. सो क्लॉट एक्टिवेशन विल टेक प्लेस, रिमेनिंग फ्लूइड इज गोइंग टू बी हैविंग द रिमूवल ऑफ द क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर, सो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी गिविंग यू सीरम. ग्रीन वाला is going to be green green heparin, green green heparin. This is going to be for electrolytes. Electrolytes. Green green heparin electrolytes. Heparinized syringe is also being used for detection of something like arterial blood gas. Heparinized syringe is also useful for arterial blood gas. Talking about lavender. Lavender contains EDTA. This is going to be useful for detection of carrying out CBC and ESR. CBC and ESR. जिन्होंने इंटर्नशिप करी है उनको याद रहता है नीलेश, वेरी गुड, यू आर राइट. जिन्होंने नहीं करी उनको क्रैम करना पड़ता है, बट हमारा पर्पस तो है ना कि जितने लोग सुन रहे हैं उनको सबको बेनिफिट मिल जाए. CBC ESR. And then we are going to be talking about something which is going to be having a gray color Vacutainer. Gray color Vacutainer contains anticoagulant. That is what was asked to you as a question, INICET. So potassium oxalate is the anticoagulant. Potassium oxalate is the anticoagulant over here. Sodium chloride is added because this is responsible for inhibiting enolase. So this is for glucose estimation. So they will talk about the fact that you happen to be a RMO, resident medical officer in the PHC, and you have a patient who's going to be having diabetes, and you have to estimate glucose in this patient. So which colored Vacutainer are you going to be preferring? You will be preferring a Vacutainer like this one, gray top. INICT में क्वेश्चन पूछा, ग्रे टॉप Vacutainer contains which particular chemical because of which estimation of glucose can take place properly? The answer is sodium fluoride. Same Vacutainer, if they ask you the question, what is the anticoagulant present in it? Then the answer is going to be potassium oxalate. Potassium oxalate. So this is the Vacutainer that we need to remember. प्लेटलेट्स के लिए भी ये वाला यार, ऊपर वाला प्लेटलेट्स. So difference is that in case of PTAPTT, you are going to be using platelet poor plasma. In case of just like platelets, you are going to be using platelet rich plasma. That's what you need to remember. सीक्वेंस में सबसे पहले ब्लड कल्चर, सबसे पहले ब्लड कल्चर, कल्चर बॉटल, राइट. एंड व्हाट वी टॉक अबाउट ओवर हियर इज, व्हाट वी टॉक अबाउट ओवर हियर इज चलो भाई. सी फॉर कल्चर, चलो भाई. कहाँ पे चलें? रेड लाइट पे खड़े हैं. रेड येलो ग्रीन, जैसे ग्रीन होती है तो हम अपने दोस्त को बोलते हैं लेट्स गो. सी फॉर कल्चर, सबसे पहले कल्चर वन, देन यूर गोइंग टू बी हैविंग द ब्लू कलर, चलो भाई. रेड हो गई लाइट, रुके हुए हैं अभी हम, फिर येलो हो जाती है, फिर ग्रीन, फिर लेट्स गो में लेवेंडर. दिस इज ग्रे. ये हैवंट सीन द ग्रीन वन. ग्रीन वाली मिलती है यार, ग्रीन वाली मिलती है जब आपको करना होता है. से फॉर एग्जांपल इट कंटेन्स लिथियम हेपेरिन एंड सोडियम हेपेरिन. लाइट ग्रीन होती है, सोडियम हेपेरिन और लिथियम हेपेरिन. कॉर्पोरेट हॉस्पिटल से मिल जाती है. चलो भाई यार, चलो भाई, चलो भाई. रेड येलो ग्रीन, रेड येलो ग्रीन, लेट्स गो. टेक का 4 फेज आदित्य, फाइब्रिनोलाइसिस का मेरे भाई, फाइब्रिनोलाइसिस. डॉक्टर AKC. ये तो तुम वैसे वाली चीजें याद दिला रहे हो. वो जेड टाइप सिक्योरिटी में तो पता नहीं क्या क्या रखते थे वो। ठीक है, ये वाली चीज याद रखिए। फाइनली वी आर गोइंग टू बी आस्क क्वेश्चंस ऑन समथिंग लाइक द ब्लड ट्रांसफ्यूजन। इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चंस आ गए एग्जाम में यार 2023-24 में, तो इसको फटाफट कर लेते हैं। ठीक है। सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी अ ट्रांसफ्यूजन नीडल, transfusion needle which is going to be having a size of 18 to 19 gauge. This is what is going to be given the name of filter. Filter is for removal of clot of blood. क्लॉट्स ऑफ ब्लड को रिमूव करने के लिए होती है फिल्टर। नहीं 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 यार, एबीजी आप भेज रहे हो सिरिंजेस के अंदर तो हिपेरिनाइज तो कर ही देते हो ना। वैसे भी आप आर्टेरियल ब्लड गैस ले रहे हो, फटाफट भेज देते हो, आईसीयू के अंदर भेज देते हो यार उसको, यू डोंट वेट फॉर इट। ये होता है आपका होल ब्लड, पैक्ड आरबीसी, फ्रेश फ्रोजन प्लाज्मा एंड प्लेटलेट्स। होल ब्लड, आरबीसी, प्लेटलेट्स, फ्रेश फ्रोजन प्लाज्मा। अभी ये इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है तो हमें ध्यान रखनी है। Whenever we're going to be talking about the RBCs, storage temperature of RBCs is between 2 to 6 degree Celsius. For platelets, it is 20 से लेकर 24 डिग्री सेल्सियस। फ्रेश फ्रोजन प्लाज्मा -18 डिग्री सेल्सियस। क्रायोप्रेसिपिटेट -18 डिग्री सेल्सियस। So this was what was given to you as questions in the exam. शेल्फ लाइफ की जब हम बात करते हैं, RBCs and whole blood are having a same shelf life that is around 42 days. Platelets are having a shelf life of 5 days. But platelets are going to be having a shelf life of 5 days only if you keep on shaking them. So a lot of things are going to be having longer half-life. You keep on shaking them, 5 days platelets. If you don't shake them, they will be having a life of 1 day only. Platelets, 5 days, they should be shaken. Agitator. If you don't shake it, then that is going to be having a life of only 1 day. Fresh frozen plasma is going to be having a shelf life of 1 year. 1 year. Same is for cryoprecipitate. कोई बात नहीं यार, 500 लोगों में से 5 लोगों को जो समझ में आएगा वो नेचुरल है। When we are talking about cryoprecipitate, the difference between cryoprecipitate and the others is cryoprecipitate is going to be rich in four factors: von Willebrand factor, factor 8, factor 13, and fibrinogen. Cryoprecipitate is going to be rich in four factors: factor 1, 8, von Willebrand factor, and factor 13. 1, 8, von Willebrand factor, and factor 13. Von Willebrand factor 1, 8, 13. By whole blood, whole blood, whole blood, पूरा खून जो तुम मेरा पी रहे हो इस टाइम पे, बार बार इमेज दिखा दो सवाल पूछ पूछ के। पैक्ड आरबीसी, जो हिंदी मूवीज में दिखाते हैं, इंग्लिश मूवीज में दिखाते हैं, 11:30 12 बजे को पीते हैं। प्लेटलेट्स, जो मरीज हमसे पी रहे होते हैं। डॉक्टर साहब वो कुत्ते का खून लगा दिया उन्होंने डेंगू के टाइम पे, लाल खून दिया था पीला दे दिया। एंड दिस वन, फ्रेश फ्रोजन प्लाज्मा। तो मोस्ट ऑफ अस हैव सीन दैट सिचुएशन नो। हमने तो लाल खून दिया था, हमारे मरीज ने दिया था, और उसके बाद आप पीला निकाल दिया, पता नहीं बाकी की ताकत कहाँ निकाल ली। जानवर का खून लगा रहे हैं हमारे। राइट। एंड दिस वन, ऑफ कोर्स द लास्ट वन, क्रायो और फ्रेश फ्रोजन प्लाज्मा। ठीक है, सो ऑल ऑफ अस हैव एक्सपीरियंस दोस काइंड ऑफ एलिगेशंस। शेर का तो बोलते ही नहीं थे यार। इफ यू डू टू मच ऑफ अ काउंसलिंग ना, कि खून देने से कोई ज्यादा साइड इफेक्ट नहीं होता, सो ड्यूटी पे बोलता था कि डॉक्टर साहब फिर ऐसा लगता है कि आप तो अच्छे परिवार से आते हो, आप ही दे दो। सो दोज थिंग्स ऑल्सो हैपन। नहीं होता ही है सच में। ठीक है, तो ये वाली चीज आपको ध्यान रखनी है। देन आते हैं हमारे कॉम्प्लिकेशंस। कॉम्प्लिकेशंस, when we are talking about the commonest complication of blood transfusion, this is the most common complication: development of fever. commonest commonest adverse effect। तुम्हारे यहाँ खून देने में 50 रुपए मिलते थे, ऐसी बातें कर रहे हो प्यारी एकदम। किसको खून देने में 50 रुपए मिलते थे भाई? बिजनेस चला रखा था तुमने। वेस्ट बंगाल में 50 रुपए मिलते हैं, किस खुशी में? वेम्पायर को। आप फ्रूटी और वो सब तो पिलाते हैं यार, दैट इज नॉट फॉर कि तुमने खून दिया है अच्छा काम किया है, वो इसलिए खिलाते हैं बिकॉज यू आर गोइंग टू बी हैविंग अ लॉस ऑफ फ्लूइड, तो तुम चक्कर खा के गिरना पड़ो उनके ऊपर, उनकी मेडिको लीगल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बन जाएगी। तो पेस्ट्री और केक खिलाते थे जब वो लायंस क्लब वाले आते थे, और उसके बाद वो साथ में दे देते थे राइस चिकन। ये देखो भाई साहब, खून दे रहे हैं और चिकन खा रहे हैं, हे भगवान। भाई तुम काम के टॉप पॉइंट बुलवा दोगे मुझे। ये देखो छोले भटूरे खा रहे हैं भाई साहब। Febrile non-hemolytic transfusion reaction. Febrile non-hemolytic transfusion reaction is something that is going to be the commonest blood transfusion reaction, right? What we need to remember over here is that this is going to be seen because of presence of white blood cells. So if you want to decrease it, what you can be doing over here is you can giving this individual leukodepleted blood. Leukodepleted blood. Leukodepleted blood can be responsible for minimizing this kind of an adverse effect. Leukodepleted blood can be responsible for minimizing the side effect of something like the patient having a development of fever. The second one that we need to be familiar with is mismatched blood transfusion reaction. Mismatched blood transfusion reaction, which is also called as ABO incompatibility blood transfusion reaction. ABO incompatibility blood transfusion reaction. ABO incompatibility blood transfusion reaction. Now, what is meant by the term ABO incompatibility blood transfusion reaction is that the person is having a blood group A. The person is having a blood group A, and by mistake you have given him blood group B. Person is having blood group A, and by mistake you have given him blood group B. तो मैं कहाँ गायब हो गया, रुको एक मिनट। मैं फिर से आ गया। ठीक है। So that is what you need to remember. Now, what is the reason for this? Because as you observed over here in the diagram, the blood bags are going to be having the presence of a sticker which will indicate their group. So let us say when we are talking about, let us say when we are talking about an individual who is going to be having a mismatched blood transfusion reaction, there was a clerical error. This is what you need to remember. Clerical error, because of which a wrong sticker was pasted, a wrong label was pasted. And please never ever have that feeling that this wrong label is posted over here in India only. It is a most common reason of mismatched blood transfusion reaction in the globe. पूरी दुनिया में हो सकता है क्योंकि ब्लड ट्रांस सेंटर्स पे इतना ज्यादा काम होता है कि गलत स्टिकर लग गया गलती से। सो दैट इज व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी रिस्पांसिबल फॉर हैविंग अ डेवलपमेंट ऑफ अ mismatched blood transfusion reaction. Now, what is going to be the complaint of the patient? If the patient happens to be conscious, then he is going to be having the presence of fever with chills and rigors. Fever with chills and rigors. And he is also going to be having a development of a pain. So, जो आपने ट्रांसफ्यूजन नीडल लगा रखा है वहां पे मरीज को पेन होगा. So, it is always recommended that whenever you are going to be starting a blood transfusion, observe the patient for the first 20 or 30 minutes. That's the rule, right? So, severe fever, fever with pain, chills and rigors, pain hoga, and patient can also be having the presence of a back pain, backache. Backache क्यों होगा? Because if there is going to be a mismatched blood transfusion reaction, this is going to be associated with hemoglobin urea. So backache हो जाएगा patient को, loin pain हो जाएगा, loin pain, backache. Whenever we are talking about ABO incompatibility, suppose you have a patient who is undergoing a surgery. So surgery के टाइम पे intraoperatively you are going to be transfusing the blood. आपने as an intern भी किया होगा. You will be doing it as a PG as well, and God's grace, you will be becoming a consultant as well. Somebody else will be doing it for you. As and when you're doing it, going to be in surgery, there is going to be a development of oozing from the surgical site. Oozing from the surgical site. So whenever such a situation happens, whether you have it in a conscious patient or whether you have it in a patient under anesthesia, what's the first thing that you will do? The first thing that you will do is immediately stop transfusion. This was a question asked in the exam. Stop BT immediately. Second thing that you have to do is push normal saline. Push normal saline. Fluid push करना है आपने फटाफट. और थर्ड चीज क्या करनी है? The blood bag and the sample of the patient has to be sent back to the blood bank. Blood bag and the patient sample has to be sent back to the blood bank so that they can again do the cross matching and they can just confirm whether this was actually a reason of mismatched blood transfusion. राइट, ऑफ कोर्स एंटी एलर्जिक मेडिकेशन तो आप दे ही सकते हो, क्लोरफेनेरामीन एविल दे सकते हो, आप हाइड्रोकॉर्ड दे सकते हो इंजेक्शन, बट दिस इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर. देन वी आर आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन द एग्जाम ऑन टाको एंड ट्राली. फ्लूइड ओवरलोड इज टाको. ट्रांसफ्यूजन एसोसिएटेड, अरे कॉल डॉक्टर ऑन ड्यूटी, भाई तुम ही हो गए वो डॉक्टर जिसको नर्सिंग स्टाफ बुलाएगा. कम तो तभी तो तुम्हें पता होना चाहिए हाइड्रोकॉर्ड देना है एविल देना है. Taco is transfusion associated circulatory overload. In a short span of time, you have given a lot of fluid to the patient. So this is what is going to be given the name of circulatory overload, which is going to be responding. Patient is going to be having congestive heart failure like features. Right? Patient is going to be having features associated with congestive heart failure like manifestations. So that is going to be improving with the help of drugs like furosemide, Lasix. Treatment hoga IV diuretics. Whereas when we talk about a condition like Trali is what is going to be seen with fresh frozen plasma. Within 6 hours of transfusion of fresh frozen plasma, patient is going to be having a development of respiratory distress. वो ल्यूकोसाइट से कारण होता है डॉक्टर साईं दीपक. उसके लिए तो हम प्रीफॉर्म कर, उसके लिए पैरासीटामोल दे देते हो, आप एविल दे देते हो, पैरासीटामोल दे देते हो. दैट इज व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी सीन. टाको कैन बी विद इन 6 hours. टाको is also within 6 hours. Trali is also within 6 hours. Both the patients are having respiratory distress. But the difference is, in case of Taco, the reason of respiratory distress is pulmonary edema. Why pulmonary edema? Because of fluid overload. So when you give diuretics, patient will be better. But when we are talking about Trali, it is fresh frozen plasma being given. Less than 6 hours, patient is going to be having respiratory distress. He is having hypoxemia. There is acute lung injury. Acute lung injury. And this is not going to be responding. Please remember that. Not going to be responding to diuretic therapy. Any condition in which there is extra fluid, so JVP is going to be higher. Pulmonary edema is there, JVP is higher, TACO. Whereas in case of Trali, JVP is not higher and it is not going to be responding to diuretic therapy. Not going to be responding to diuretic therapy. That is what you need to remember. Then we talked about the condition yesterday, transfusion associated graft versus host disease. So you do the blood transfusion and the patient is going to be having involvement of development of graft versus host disease. What is the first organ affected in graft versus host disease? Yes, 500 people now, skin rash. Then there could be development of diarrhea. Then there could be development of jaundice. How can you reduce the chances of transfusion associated graft versus host disease? By giving irradiated blood. By giving irradiated blood. Then we talk about infections. 2023's question, INICET. Infections. Which component of blood can be having maximum chances of transmission of infection? See the component which is going to be this most favorable for growth of bacteria. 2 to 6 degree, 24 degree, -18. Which is most favorable? 20 to 24. That means chances of infections are maximum with platelets. Syphilis, very important. Malaria, another important one. Most common infection transmitted by all components of blood, syphilis. Most component, ट्राली का ट्रीटमेंट नहीं होता यार, it is life threatening. You can just give oxygen support. So we have to reduce the chances of infections and therefore we do screening of the blood. Screening is done for hepatitis B, hepatitis C, HIV. Irradiate कर दिया ना blood को, you're killing the T cells. You're killing the T cells over here. Right? Please remember the fact there is no screening being done. No screening being done. 2022's question, 2023's question. For dengue, no screening being done for hepatitis A. So it is being done for hepatitis B, hepatitis C, HIV, syphilis, malaria, but it is not being done for dengue and hepatitis A. Then wrapping up our discussion, hopefully, then this is a problem that we sometimes face in the patients, which is given the name of massive blood transfusion. So within 24 hours, you are giving almost one blood volume, which is almost like 5 liters of blood. What is the problem over here? That once you are going to be talking about the blood over here, blood is going to be kept at a temperature of 2 to 6 degrees Celsius. So when you are pushing blood in that higher quantity, this is definitely going to be responsible for causing a development of hypothermia. Hypothermia. This can be reduced by a provision of inline warmers. Otherwise, also you are aware, you take the blood from the blood bank. How long is it going to be safe? It's going to be safe only for the first 4 hours. So first 20 or 30 minutes, you try to rewarm that blood. Right? If you remember, the patient is asked to keep that blood back. The relative is asked to keep the blood on his own body, right? Or the abdomen. And then you start the transfusion after 20 or 30 minutes. You have to finish the transfusion in 4 hours. So hypothermia is going to be seen when there is a massive blood transfusion. In an emergency, patient has lost a lot of fluid. Another one can be the patients can be having the development of electrolyte disturbances. Electrolyte disturbance can be that if there is going to be a blood which is going to be given to an individual, blood is going to be containing anticoagulant, citrate. Citrate in the body is going to get converted into bicarbonate. So when you're giving blood very, very quickly, there is always a very high risk for development of a complication, metabolic alkalosis. Metabolic alkalosis. Metabolic alkalosis. Sometimes what you're going to be having in association with metabolic alkalosis can be a situation where the patients are going to be having a development of hypokalemia. Hypokalemia. If the blood is kept outside the blood bank for a long time, RBCs break down. Lysis takes place. If lysis takes place, then that can result in hyperkalemia. So please don't get confused with questions in the exam. Hypo, hyper both can be seen. It is more commonly hypo. But if the blood is being kept for a long duration of time, lysis of the cells can take place, which can result in hyperkalemia. Yeah, both are going to be dangerous. Citrate also has a property. It can combine with calcium. So when it combines with calcium, it can result in hypocalcemia. It can result in hypocalcemia. And what is this hypocalcemia going to be manifesting as? It is going to be manifesting in the form of development of perioral tingling. If you have ever donated blood, particularly if you have donated platelets, plasma, platelet apheresis, then you experience very commonly a tingling sensation around the lips because you are giving blood from one arm and the blood is moving in a machine and that machine is taking out your platelets. So to maintain the blood in the circulation, there is a lot of citrate which is added. So that causes temporary hypocalcemia. Temporary hypocalcemia. Hypo because of alkalosis भाई. कॉम्पेंसेटरी है ना, एल्कलोसिस है तो H प्लस बाहर आ जाएगा ना, पोटेशियम अंदर चला जाएगा. Then we can be having a condition that which is going to be associated with the trouble, dilutional coagulopathy. Clotting factors are going to get less in number, too much of fluid. And this is something which is going to be prevented with the help of 1 is to 1 is to 1 protocol. What is 1 is to 1 is to 1 protocol? What is 1 is to 1 is to 1 protocol? क्या तीन चीजें इसको आप देते हो? One is FFP, RBCs, FFP platelets. RBCs, FFP platelets. So one part of RBC, 1 unit of FFP, 1 unit of platelet, so that you are not giving too much of a fluid. When you are not giving too much of a fluid, you are giving sufficient amount of clotting factors, you are giving sufficient amount of platelets. So FFP is going to be providing clotting factors, platelets are being provided, so dilutional coagulopathy is not going to take place. Some of the transfusion reactions occur early. For example, fever. For example, mismatched blood transfusion reactions. For example, TACO. For example, TRALI. Some of them are going to be delayed. By definition, delayed blood transfusion reactions are the ones which take place after 24 hours of starting transfusion. After 24 hours of starting blood transfusion, these are given the name of delayed blood transfusion reactions. 2023's question. Delayed blood transfusion reaction is the one that is going to be seen after 24 hours of starting blood transfusion. Right? So that is what we need to remember. In fact, this was an INI-CET question as well. ठीक है, अब ये है आपके ओके नोट्स वाला कंपोनेंट. आई नो, दिस इज नॉट द नोट्स वाला कंपोनेंट, दिस वन इज नोट्स वाला ना. कौन बता रहा था भाई क्या रह गया इसके अंदर? ये था यार बर्लिन्स क्राइटेरिया, जस्ट इन केस समबडी विशेस टू नो, मेडिसिन वाला कंपोनेंट है. बर्लिन्स क्राइटेरिया, ट्राली. ये लास्ट चीज है यार, लास्ट. रेस्पिरेटरी डिस्ट्रेस हो रहा है पेशेंट को विद इन 1 वीक ऑफ इंसल्ट. ये चलता रहता है. इट बिगिंस विद इन 6 hours ऑफ स्टार्टिंग द ट्रांसफ्यूजन ऑफ एफएफपी, बट इट इज गोना बी कंटिन्यूइंग. देन देयर इज नो एविडेंस ऑफ लेफ्ट एट्रियल हाइपरटेंशन. Bilateral lung is going to be having an infiltration because of acute lung injury. And because the patient is going to be having acute lung injury, so what is going to be happening in these individuals is going to be the fact that patients are going to be having the partial pressure of oxygen, which is going to be between 200 to 300. JVP remains normal because there is no fluid overload and no response to diuretics. Vaibhav Kumar, can we start early tomorrow because next day exam hai. You're going to be appearing in the INICT this time? All of you? Unlikely, yaar. अच्छा, many of us are. ठीक है यार. सो बट वी हैव ट्राई टू फिनिश ऑफ ओवर एरियाज. द जीपैथ खत्म कर ली हमने, हिमैट खत्म कर ली. राइट, सिस्टमिक वाला जो कंपोनेंट है दैट इज व्हाट कैन बी टेकन केयर ऑफ बाद में. जितना याद रख सको उतना कर लेना यार. आई विल नॉट फोर्स यू टू स्टे बैक. वट एवर इज कंफर्टेबल टाइमिंग फॉर यू, जस्ट डू इट टिल दैट पॉइंट. या वी आर गोइंग टू बी हैविंग एन ऑफ ऑन 11. I'll just try to coordinate with the team. So if we are able to start tomorrow a bit early, yes, we will. Right? You will get a notification in the app itself. ठीक है. चित्रा बैग इज द नेम ऑफ द बैग यार, विच इज गोइंग टू बी यूजफुल फॉर कीपिंग द ब्लड. ठीक है, तो ये वाली चीज हमें ध्यान रखनी है. चलो, दैट टेक्स केयर ऑफ अ डिस्कशन ऑफ हेमाटोलॉजी यार. थैंक यू सो मच. शुभ रात्रि, शब्बा खैर, गुड नाइट, टेक केयर ऑफ योर सेल्स. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर कॉपरेशन फॉर